I think what Frank will take and what we should all take is the performance. The performance is the thing that you can take into the next game. The Super Cup won't define our season. That penalty shootout won't define our season. And hopefully for Tammy Abraham, that penalty miss will not define his season. Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for the rational perspective on Chelsea's Super Cup final defeat to Liverpool last night in Istanbul. It was heartbreaking, it was a bit frustrating. It is the morning after, and I wanted to record this the morning after just because so much happened in that game, and I want to talk about it and really highlight some of the positives, because although losing to Liverpool, losing on penalties isn't nice, after especially that effort and that performance that came with it, I think that there is so much to be optimistic about for the season. And I think generally that is the reaction, which is great to see. I think there's so much positivity and excitement around what happened last night with Chelsea, just from the element that we'll get into specific things. But I think for me, being able to go toe-to-toe with Liverpool, and to me, I thought we were a better team over 120 minutes. That's the frustrating thing, and a few chances went awry, and we're a bit unfortunate with some of the offside goals. If some of those players track their runs a bit better, if one of Liverpool's defenders is a little bit deeper, game could have been different. But, we did have some luck on our side as well with some of the saves that Kepa made. But I think just it is a positive, and I really want to highlight that. I think the first thing to talk about pretty generally, I think was so important last night was that setup, was the starting 11. I think most of us predicted that Lampard would probably stick to a 4-2-3-1, but he changed to a 4-3-3, and he brought back Kante, who was obviously fit to start, who we'll come to, who was just outstanding, alongside Kovacic and Jorginho, which was a three that we did see a lot under Sarri last season. He brought in Pulisic on that left, Giroud started as well, and the same back four which he kept from Sunday, which wasn't that surprising really. But I think that first half, just in terms of the subtle changes Lamp's made, of we weren't pressing from the front, we weren't trying to get at Liverpool straight away, we were sitting a little deeper, we were waiting for that moment, we were waiting for the mistakes from Liverpool, really had a compact shape, and I think that was so instrumental to why we got so much success last night and why we were in the game for as long as we were. Kante and Jorginho and Kovacic worked so well as a midfield, especially last night. Just what they're able to do. Kante, who was playing in an advanced position just like he was under Sarri. Jorginho being able to dictate tempo. And Kovacic, who for me has looked really good in pre-season, and I think has followed up. I think he's going to be, just like I think I said in my prediction video for the season, I think he's going to be a player that surprises a lot of people this season. And once again, we were controlling the midfield. We got control of the midfield quite early on and finding passes through the middle into runners. And whether that was Pulisic, Pedro, or Giroud, we really were able to expose Liverpool a bit and be able to find spaces. And a lot of that came from that midfield and the intricate play and the slick passing. I thought our passing, especially in that first 45 minutes, was exceptional. I think in just tight areas, and a lot of that has to do with Kante, who is not a defensive midfielder. I think I just want to set this right now. I've said it on Twitter as well. If anyone comes to me and says Kante is a defensive or holding midfielder or a sitting midfielder, I think it's just an insult. If you watch that game, if you've watched his Chelsea career, if you've watched what he's done in his career, he is a phenomenal midfielder. Just is everywhere all of the time, and I think it really would just it's degrading to him to just limit him to saying he's a sitting midfielder, because he does so much for us in tight areas, a bit like Hazard-esque in a sense of being able to get into tight areas, hold the ball, and create space for other players, and really is so instrumental to that phase of transitioning play for us, of moving the ball quickly forward, being able to get through Liverpool's midfield was so key. And he was just, considering he was injured before it and was a doubt, I think he just looked so good last night. And I think Jorginho as well deserves massive credit as well for his role, and I hope this season people will start to realise Jorginho can be a great player for us, and he isn't just a player that does nothing. He is instrumental to how we can play in midfield and how we can control the game. But yeah, that first half, I thought we really played well. There weren't many chances for Liverpool. We were really compact, waiting for them to make mistakes, and we capitalised on them. I think the bit of frustration that we had was, a Pedro hitting the bar, and you're sort of thinking, is it going to be like Sunday? Are we not going to find the back of the net and Liverpool going to go up the other end and score? But luckily we did. And Christian Pulisic finally getting his first start. I think he done so well with that goal. And once again, Kante instrumental in creating that goal and creating the opportunity for that goal. But Pulisic running in between the lines and finding a perfect ball through to Giroud, who European goals it just made for him. European nights are made for him. He just loves scoring, and I think it was just such a great finish. And it was great to see us capitalise on our dominance in that game and really be able to take it to Liverpool. And Pulisic, we have to remember he's 20. He did have, he's going to have those good moments in games, and sometimes he can be phased out of games. I think that's one thing we have to remember about his age. And I know a lot of Americans are excited to see him, and I'm excited to see him start. But I think we have to put into context his age, the fact that he's coming into a different league to Germany, and he's coming into a club like Chelsea. So I think he did really well and was unfortunate with that goal that got ruled out for offside. If he just held his run, but I mean, I'm not going to tempt fate, but that goal and the way he scored that goal reminded me of a certain other winger that played for Chelsea. I let you do the guessing on that one. But that finish was lovely, and I think hopefully he should take the positives of that, and the intelligence of holding his run, because he's got the pace and the skill and the ability to beat defenders, and which is such a key thing. But I guess the frustration was post half time. We came out, Klopp made the change of bringing on Firmino, and Liverpool came straight back into it with a goal. And that's where I think my concern was, that just like with United, the game could change and switch, and we could end up find ourselves on the back foot, which didn't happen actually. Once we were able to reassert ourselves and get control of the game again, and be able to calm down, get the ball moving, and start creating chances again. Not as much as the first half, but I think that was something that really will impress Frank. The fact that we weren't as naive, we didn't crumble, we were able to calm down for a bit, reassert, calm ourselves down, get into our shape, get a hold of the ball, and pass it quite nicely. And that's what kept us in the game. And then, of course, we had Mount, Tammy, and Tomori coming on, who I all think had good moments. And I think Mount, especially for me, just looks like a first team player, doesn't he? He just, that penalty as well, top corner, for me, he is going to be so instrumental, I think, this season. And I think he just looks so impressive, doesn't look fazed by anything. And although, of course, there's going to be a learning process for him in some elements, I actually think he looks really good on that left. And I think that's positive for me, that he can play alongside that in any of those three positions. If we are going to play a 4-2-3-1, I know last night he played a 4-3-3, but I think he can play out wide and looks capable of doing it for me. And he was unlucky as well with an offside goal. Kepa save, world class, wasn't it? They were saying in commentary after, or punditry after, that it was the first save was more impressive. The first save was impressive, but the second save for me, the ball, before he made the reaction, the ball was past his right shoulder before he made the reaction to save it. World class from Kepa, and he was a bit unlucky in a penalty shootout, because he could have saved one or two penalties there. But I think overall, his performance, and I think he continued. I've said this before, I think he's an upgrade on the previous keeper. I just do. Great to see him make a save like that in a big game, and that's what £70 million gets you in football, really. But of course, we did go behind in extra time. A great goal from Mane. Was it a pen? Wasn't it a pen? I think Tammy's intelligence to get in front of the keeper there, to gamble on that ball, I think is something positive, and we win the penalty. Jorginho capping off a great display with that goal. And I think that, that was something that, and of course Tammy did have that chance where he could have, literally, if he just hits it a bit more central, because once again, finding space, Pedro with a great run and cutting it back, and Tammy, if he scores that, we win the game, we don't go to pens. Now, once we go into pens, we're unlucky, and I think nearly all the pens, with the exception of Tammy's. And for some reason, VAR wasn't working for Tammy's pen, apparently. Adrian, apparently, for some reason, was allowed to have his feet out off the line for that. But what are you going to do? I think what Frank will take, and what we should all take, is the performance. The performance is the thing that you can take into the next game. The Super Cup won't define our season. That penalty shootout won't define our season. And hopefully for Tammy Abraham, that penalty miss will not define his season. The thing that hopefully will define our season, and will hopefully be the thing that can unite this team and unite us as a club, is the fact that many people are writing us off this season. And, you can't blame it. We've just lost 4-0 in our first game. But last night, what I saw was we can go toe-to-toe with these teams. We can, on our day, expose these teams, and we have the players and the capability and the and just the skill within our team, and also as a manager tactically, to go ahead with a manager like Klopp and to expose some of his weaknesses in his team. I think all positives for me that Chelsea really need to take into the season and use as a boost and as a springboard now to get our first 3 points of the season, because there's so many things that I think that and options for Frank has defence, midfield, attacking wise. You also think, and I'm going to continue to stress this, Rudiger and Willian on the bench, HUDSON-ODOI, Loftus-Cheek and Reece James still to come back. You're starting to get a bit more excited about who can play in this team and the options Frank has, whether he goes to a 4-3-3 in some of the games against the likes of Liverpool where we want to sit a little bit deeper and we aren't going to have as much of the ball. That midfield has the ability to control and to dictate tempo. Or if we're on a game and we at home especially, and we want to get straight at teams, we want to get on the front foot, he can go for that 4-2-3-1 and he can play Mount on out wide on one of those left or right wing, and he can play Pulisic out on the left. We saw Barkley coming on. I thought he had some good moments driving through the middle, and he scored a good penalty as well. Just some other things to touch on. I thought the back two was good. I think Zuma, that will be a positive thing for him, and Tomori as well. I think when he came on, Christensen had some good moments as well. Emerson, I thought, was outstanding, really. I think keeping a player like Salah quiet for that amount of time, he had one chance, and even the chance he had, I think Emerson was smart to not allow Salah to cut in, which he loves doing, and Kepa made a good save from that. But other than that, Salah was pretty much quiet. And as I said before, reasserting ourselves in that game after conceding a goal, I think after conceding both goals was impressive. There is that concern over Dave, I think, just in terms of moving forward. The strength attacking wise and defensive wise, not so much defensive wise, because I still have the trust in Dave that he one-on-ones and he's intelligent, and you saw that last night. It's just moving forward and what's required of a fullback in the modern game now, and I think Emerson definitely shows that. Emerson for me is just a standout player in that back four, and I think he done that once again last night. And I think is going to be a player that continues to impress, and I think he's just so far in front of the competition in that position. I think is something to be really happy about. But yeah, now we move on to Leicester. I throw it off to you guys now. What are your opinions on the game? Your man of the match, your positives. What do you think about the game? What do you think about our performance in general? Anything you picked out that I didn't touch on? Really interested to hear your guys' opinions in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button and also hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also, follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.